Recent data for UK manufacturers suggests that Brexit has affected UK imports more than exports. This is according to data produced by Make UK, the trade body representing UK manufacturers. This graph shows that UK exports have fallen to all sources. The blue line shows exports to the EU and green line exports to the rest of the world. These figures are volume of exports, so they're not affected by inflation. I recently did a video on a report by the Institute of Economic Affairs that presented some very misleading data on the impact of Brexit on UK trade. However, one thing that the report did say that I could agree with is that if Brexit were a major disruptor of UK trade, we could expect to see a divergence between UK trade with EU destinations and UK trade with non-EU destinations. If we look at the share of total UK exports, despite the overall fall in UK exports, EU manufacturing exports have gone up from 68% to 73% share, while exports to non-EU countries have decreased from 32% to 27%. This doesn't suggest that Brexit has had a massive effect on UK manufacturing exports. I've done a separate video on problems that UK companies are facing in trading with the EU post-Brexit. I point out in that video that small and medium-sized companies have been heavily hit, while the bigger manufacturing companies have been better able to cope with the increased customs formalities, even though it has impacted on their costs. Of course, the SMEs will affect the trade statistics a lot less than the big companies, so the possible lack of impact on UK exports to the EU is at the macroeconomic level, but there are many smaller companies where the impact has been dramatic. For UK imports from the EU, there does appear to have been a possible impact caused by Brexit. We can see that during this period, imports to the rest of the world have increased, as shown by the green line, while imports from the EU have decreased. Looking at the percentage of total imports, we can see that imports from the EU have fallen from 42.4% to 37.7%. There does seem to be a shift away from EU to non-EU imports, which could indicate that Brexit has had an effect. This isn't really surprising because the impact of Brexit has been to make UK imports from the EU more expensive. So this has likely changed the relative price differences between products from the EU and the rest of the world. As I said on the video on the Institute of Economic Affairs analysis, no one knows the exact impact of Brexit, but each one of these studies of real data gradually reveals a picture of what is going on. Tentatively, we can perhaps make a conclusion that Brexit has so far affected imports more than exports in UK-EU trade. I hope you found this information useful. If you did, please consider liking or subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.